16 episodes. That's all that's left before Captain Pike hands over the center seat for good. And here's the part most fans missed. We already know two of the actors who are going to walk onto that bridge and end the show forever. One of them used to play the Punisher. Stick around, because today we're mapping out exactly how Strange New Worlds gets from where it is right now to the exact first frame of the original series. Some of this is confirmed casting. Some of it is smart math based on the actual Star Trek timeline. And one part of it might be the biggest missed opportunity in the whole franchise. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this is where we take Star Trek canon seriously enough to argue about it for 12 straight minutes. Today's topic: the endgame of Strange New Worlds and everything the writers still have to check off before this show quietly turns into a different show wearing the same uniforms. Let's set the timeline straight first, because there's been a lot of confusion floating around. Season 4 lands July 23rd, 2026. 10 episodes, back to the standalone, Planet of the Week format the show built its reputation on. A Western episode. A dinosaur episode. That's the fun stuff. But Season 5 is the one that matters for this conversation, because Season 5 is the last season. Only 6 episodes. Already filmed, already in the can, sitting in post-production. That's genuinely unusual. Paramount ordered a shortened final season and let the writers shoot it back-to-back with Season 4, which tells you they wanted the ending locked before anything could change their minds. Add it up. 10 episodes plus 6 episodes. 16 episodes standing between where we are now and the literal first scene of James Kirk commanding the Enterprise in the original series. That's not a lot of runway for everything that still needs to happen. Now here's where I get to correct a piece of fan speculation that's been floating around for a year. People kept asking, will Strange New Worlds ever cast Bones McCoy before the show ends? That question already has an answer. In late December, Paramount confirmed Thomas Jane is playing Dr. Leonard McCoy. Yes, that Thomas Jane. Frank Castle himself, trading a machine gun for a hypo spray. Alongside him, stage actor Kai Murakami was cast as Hikaru Sulu, his first television role after years with the Royal Shakespeare Company. Here's the catch, though, and it's a big one. Both of them are confirmed for exactly one episode, the series finale. That's it. McCoy and Sulu exist in this show for a single hour of television. Think about what that means structurally. The writers are holding two of the most iconic characters in this franchise in reserve for literally the final scenes they'll ever film for this era of Star Trek. That's not an accident. That's a mic drop, timed on purpose. And while we're clearing up rumors, the producers have also gone on record ruling out a Chekov appearance entirely. So if you're hoping for a babyface cadet cameo, that door is now closed. Officially, from the people who make the show, casting an actor with Thomas Jane's profile for a one-episode cameo is a strange business decision, unless you're planning for more. Multiple outlets covering the announcement pointed out the same thing. Why spend that kind of casting budget on someone with his name recognition if this is genuinely a one-and-done appearance? That question connects directly to a bigger story happening behind the scenes, and we'll circle back to it because it might actually decide whether Kirk ever gets his own show. But first, let's talk about the character this casting quietly displaces. Dr. Joseph Mbenga. Here's a detail canon nerds have been sitting on for years. In the original series timeline, Mbenga is still stationed on the Enterprise during Kirk's command, but he's not the chief medical officer anymore. McCoy has that job. So somewhere between now and the finale, Mbenga has to lose the position he's held the entire run of Strange New Worlds. And this isn't a small character we're talking about. This show has built Mbenga into one of the most layered figures in modern Star Trek. Combat trauma from the Klingon War. A secret identity as a wartime killer known as the Butcher of Jagal. The weight of violence he spent years trying to bury under a doctor's calm. Does he step down voluntarily because he finally admits he's not built for command responsibility anymore? Does Starfleet quietly reassign him? Or does McCoy's arrival simply force a changing of the guard neither man gets a real say in? Whichever direction the writers go, This is one of the more emotionally loaded handoffs left on the board, and it's happening almost entirely off-screen unless the writers choose to show it. Now for the genuinely tense part of this conversation. Not every character on this ship exists in the original series timeline. We know what happens to Spock. We know Kirk takes command. We know roughly what happens to Pike. But number one, Erica, Ortegas, and Lon Noonien Singh do not appear in the original series at all, which means, canonically, something has to happen to explain why. Number one's entire arc has revolved around identity and acceptance inside Starfleet. A promotion, a transfer, or her own command would make sense as an exit that doesn't require a tragedy. Ortegas is trickier because Sulu needs the helm eventually, and there's no version of that handoff that doesn't involve her leaving the ship one way or another. Lon is the one that worries me most, honestly, given how much narrative weight the show has put behind her. Her time travel history, her connection to Kirk, her relationship with Spock. Strange New Worlds has a track record of making audiences attached to original characters, and then testing that attachment. Season 5 only has 6 episodes to resolve 3 separate departures. That's not much room to do it with any grace. Now, back to the bigger picture, because this is the part that actually explains all the casting decisions we just talked about. For a while, showrunners Akiva Goldsman and Henry Alonso Myers were openly hoping Strange New Worlds would lead directly into a new series, something unofficially nicknamed Star Trek, Year 1, following Paul Wesley's Kirk as a brand new captain. But the picture has gotten murkier. Star Trek, Starfleet Academy, the other current Star Trek show, got canceled after just 2 seasons. The physical Enterprise sets in Toronto have reportedly been torn down and auctioned off. And Alex Kurtzman's production deal with Paramount, the one that's covered Star Trek television since 2016, is set to expire at the end of 2026. Put those 3 facts together, and you get a franchise that's leaning hard toward movies again, with television Star Trek potentially going quiet for the first time in a decade once this show wraps. Which makes Thomas Jane's casting almost bittersweet. It might be the strongest evidence we have that someone still wants Kirk's era to continue in live action. Or it might just be one great final episode, and nothing more without a few more loose threads worth flagging before we wrap this up. All speculative, none confirmed. Carol Marcus has never been mentioned outside of a passing reference during the show's musical episode, where Kirk mentions her being pregnant. If the writers wanted to set up Wrath of Khan properly, introducing her and an infant David now would do a lot of quiet groundwork. Sybok, Spock's estranged half-brother, was set up for a return back in Season 1 and has never resurfaced. Given how much of this show is about Spock wrestling with emotional suppression, Sybok is thematically overdue. And there's still the small matter of explaining how Scotty visually ages about 15 years in the space of roughly 3 in-universe years between this show and the original series. Casting reality is the honest answer. But fans have had fun building in-universe theories for smaller inconsistencies than this one before. So here's where things stand. 16 episodes left. 2 legendary characters already cast and locked into the very last one. A handful of original characters whose futures are genuinely uncertain. And a real, ongoing question about whether this ending is a graceful handoff to a new era of Star Trek or the quiet end of Star Trek on television altogether. What do you think the writers owe this ending? Drop your prediction in the comments. I read all of them. If this kind of deep dive is your thing, subscribing genuinely helps this channel keep making them. See you in the next one.